Welcome back to another episode of Marketing Champions. I'm your host, Jerica Manzi with Daily Ad Brief, and I'm excited to bring onto the show Greg Dvorken with Return. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. Nice fall day this morning.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. What is the biggest change in marketing that you see happening within the next 2 years?
I see just a bigger emphasis on really trying to get down to true ROI for marketers. I think it's been something I've been chasing my entire career and just trying to figure out how do we connect the successes of the marketing side of things to business outcomes. And I know that's something that people throw around a lot, like, okay, we want to measure ROI, we want to make sure that we're getting it, but marketers talk a lot to themselves. We talk about the metrics that make sense to us. I think there's going to be a lot more pressure on making sure that the successes that we talk about make sense to the business. And how do we demonstrate that very clearly?
Perfect. And what is your favorite advertising campaign that you have created or participated in?
I think, campaigns for me are a little bit different. We've been focusing a lot on, B2B marketing, which is maybe a little bit less sexy. But really, trying to, for me, a successful or a really cool campaign is how do you connect directly with the customers, in a way that feels personal to them. So, in a one-to-one marketing or one-to-a-few marketing, making sure that challenge of, connecting and making sure that they feel like this, this communication, this, piece of content, whatever it is, was really meant for them and making sure that we, make it feel very conversational. So, I've done campaigns where we're putting 400 different pieces of content in front of clients over an 18-month period. So how do we make sure that stays fresh? And we do that a lot through just personalization, making sure that it feels genuine, rather than being, feeling like you're being marketed to. I think that's a subtle nuance that people, enjoy and actually, actually feel a little bit better about, the company that they're talking to when it feels like that.
Perfect. And then how does your marketing strategy change from working with a local client to a national client?
Well, I think, everything needs to start local. I think, the making sure that the local sensibilities are taken, care of first. I think there's brand elements that can be repurposed and used over and over again on a national scale. But in terms of making sure that, the personalization I was talking about earlier feels, genuine to that market, to that community, whatever it is. I feel like there's a way to make that a little bit stronger, and making sure that, let's start local and then see what's working and see how we can apply certain things national. But usually that's very brand related, making sure that your brand is taken care of first. But from a customer perspective, local definitely trumps that.
Perfect. And then what makes your company unique?
Well, we're measuring something slightly different. We're a sales intelligence company. Return really focuses on human-to-human seller-buyer interactions. So for us, we're not using a lot of the vanity metrics that people are used to, like clicks and opens and page views. We're really focused in on how did the interaction between a seller and a buyer move the deal forward, and was it successful in doing that or not? And so we, in 10 seconds or less, Return is able to capture that seller-buyer interaction and then scale those insights across the enterprise. So for us, each piece of content that you share with a customer is really seen. Basically, we have a batting average for every single piece of content that we're sharing with a customer. So for other sellers inside the organization who decide to use similar content or the same content, they know that their peers have used this content. It's been battle tested and proven as a success. And, in what we focus on around B2B sales and marketing, repeating those successes is so critical, because all of these successes are happening all the time inside an organization, but they're usually siloed off for individual sellers or individual selling teams. And those insights very rarely make it out in a broader scale. But how do we do that in a way with, a different type of data point, which is really what we're focused on, is not the typical, marketing data point. It's something that's a little bit more intimate, and something that's a little bit more trustworthy in terms of its success or failure in that situation.
Perfect. And then we're going to wrap it up. So I'm going to have one more question for you. So what % of your advertising service offerings does traditional media buying make up?
0. Yeah, we don't do a lot of traditional advertising. Our focus is really on, one to a few marketing. So, we're really focused on how do we leverage, whether it's search or things that are a little bit more focused on, surfacing the proper results for our clients. So, traditional advertising is not, kind of part of our, our clients' spend. They're really focused on much further down funnel communication between seller and buyer, and making sure that what they're providing at that stage feels a little bit less like marketing and a little bit more like a conversation.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Greg. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Marketing Champions. If you'd like to learn more about Greg, please head to dailyadbrief.com, and we'll see you next time.